All right, welcome back, YouTube. So today I'm going to cover a couple of different points as far as where Dogecoin is and the new support that we're building at around like the 14 cent mark, which is can be used as I guess you can call it like another like a lower high, or excuse me, a higher low. And this is really great long-term movement for Doge. And I'm also going to give some points as far as to why this is happening and the great state that we're in now with shorts as well. So before I get into that, just let me know how my audio is. Just let me know if you can hear me, and then I will get started. Then, of course, I'll take a few questions afterwards as well. The but right now, yeah, we're hovering around like 1434, which is really great news for Dogecoin here, and sounds good. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to jump right into the charting, and then we will get started. Okay, so just so we're clear here, this area that I have circled has pretty much been our price movement since roughly, I guess we can say we entered at around March 26th. So almost a month now, actually. And this is really great as far as for us consolidating and moving sideways. If I'm in a position outside of a correction, if I'm looking to increase my share count, coin count, I'm looking for sideways movement or up. And the beautiful thing as far as where we're consolidating is this purple line here is our 72-day moving average. The yellow line is our 21-day moving average. And we're literally bouncing off of our 21 and 72-day moving average, which is really great. That's pretty much like our floor, pretty much our floor right now. We did come up and break past our 200-day moving average briefly, and then we got like rejected off of it, but we did break the cycle here above like our 17.3. And that's typically what I said a couple weeks ago. If we were to break 17 cents, 17.3, 17.3 to 17.8, typically that's our run up to go retest. And we got rejected at around, let's see, what is this? 17.98, around 18 cents. So we broke above, so we pretty much had like a 1 cent run. We're coming up to challenge the 20, 21 cents. And I went over the period here in our shorts, which is pretty much shorts were like non-existent, kind of like what they are now, until we went on that run and they pretty much jumped I won't say they jumped the gun, but normally in the last two runs, they started shorting once we broke around like 20 cents or so. Once we got in that range, we'd have that rejection. Since they started shorting at around 20 cents, we get that rejection at around like 23 cents. But the shorts did come in and didn't necessarily kill the momentum, but they were able to get some downward movement. And then we got a few more rejections, but we are consolidating at a much higher price. And I'm going to take a look here. I want us to take a look here at the shorts as well. And these are the spikes that pretty much this spike in particular in shorts is what pretty much caused that rejection on that big green candle that we just saw on Dogecoin. But as we can see here, we are getting a few little green ticks here, but for the most part, the shorts have not like amped up their positions just yet to try and consolidate like any movement. So typically when we see the candles or these little small movements in shorts, that typically means that Doge is more free to move around. So this is if there's a positive catalyst or simply just the retail community starts buying into the coin, you're going to see more of a natural reaction. And if you follow my channel, you know that I believe that Doge is consolidating at artificial lows here just because of the amount of shorts in the project, that I believe that it's consolidated a little lower than its equilibrium. So I do believe that especially if the shorts remain this low, we're going to see some more natural price movement and Doge move toward its natural fair market value. But either way, these prices, I believe, long term are really good here. It's up a bit. I know some people want to catch it at the absolute bottom. That's nearly impossible, which is why I always say that you should buy a little, save the most of your money. And if you get that breakdown to that percentage point to lower your DCA dramatically. But as far as we're catching it at the absolute bottom, whether that's 11 cents or 6 cents, it's going to be really difficult to do. But these prices long term, if you're thinking several years from now, these prices are going to be really great for you. So I'm going to go back here to Doge. And so what we're going to be looking for here, because we're seeing breakdowns in the market here. Doge is actually being really, really stable compared to a lot of the other price movements in the market. Like we're seeing like some really big swings in the market here, and Doge is pretty much just trending sideways and being really, really stable. Which is technically it's normally the flip side. We'll see some big swings in the market typically, but you'll see Doge like on the it'll pretty much be we were on this trajectory here of this downward trajectory, stating that we were setting like lower highs repeatedly, about three of them consecutively, actually, until we broke out of that cycle. And now we're building up this new support. Long term, or excuse me, short term movement here, us building this support here, we can use it for two things. Either the just the floor to trend sideways until we get some certainty in the macros of the market, or this can just literally just be our new fair market. Well, I say fair market because I still believe it's artificially low, but this will be our new equilibrium that we're going to use to go up and retest for the 20 cent level or that 200-day moving average, which will probably if this will probably smooth out now that we are trending sideways here. So this will probably be somewhere between 17, I say 17 and 18.5. But historically, if we break that and the shorts don't come in crazy, or if we simply just whatever catalyst is propelling that upward movement, that'll be our run to 20 cent. So that's something that we're going to have to look for here in the short-term movement. But this is really great that we're consolidating right on, pretty much right on with our 72 and 21-day moving averages. So we're literally curving these up, and hopefully we can get. Yeah, it looks like our 21-day and our 72 are about to cross. So we're getting some really, really bullish symbolism here from the from the charts in the short term. We'll take a look here in the comments. Smash the like button, subscribe, share the link. Thank you. I appreciate you. Even my accountant said crypto is here to stay. He said his entire group of accountants are required now to know all the crypto regulations. Absolutely. Yeah, crypto, it took 12 years for crypto to hit like $1 trillion evaluation. 18 months for 2 trillion. I think like 8 months, 7 months for it to peak a little at 3.2. So the stock market on a good day is worth roughly around like 100 trillion. Massive, massive upside to the cryptos that are able to sustain the test of time in the market. Like we're literally, this is like crypto in its infancy stages. Like crypto hasn't even started like walking yet, if you want to put it into perspective. This is one of the reasons I know people will ask, like, oh, what's Dogecoin going to be by the end of the year? What's this going to be? What's this catalyst going to do? Like, think like 3 years, 5 years, 10 years from now. Like, think about the just outside of like inflation and some of the macro events and stuff like that. Just think about all the new money that's going to come into the market. And literally, these coins that have sustained the test of time are going to appreciate like immensely. So that's one of the things that I look forward for. I ask myself, I don't think like, oh, what's the price of Dogecoin going to be at the end of the year? I think like, what's the price of Dogecoin going to be when the crypto market has a $10 trillion evaluation? What's the price of Dogecoin when the crypto market has a $15, $20 trillion evaluation? That's the kind of that's the mindset that I think of. Let's see. After the TA, can you share your thoughts on Elon and Twitter's poison pill? Yeah, I was thinking about doing a separate video on Elon and the Twitter thing, but we can do it. We can have that discussion here. My thoughts, typically, I do believe that, and I agree with Elon. I think he mentioned it on Twitter as well. I think that it should be up to the shareholders to do a vote. But as far as for them blocking it or like the poison pill and stuff like that, that's very, very likely. And I think that what we may see, and that's something we're going to have to, especially this week coming up, we're probably going to see some hedge funds or these large institutions increase their positions to be greater than Elon's. And I think that, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if it's Vanguard or BlackRock that did something like that, but I remember reading some supports that was kind of already happening, that they were surpassing like the 9.2% or whatnot that Elon holds. And this typically, those funds, they're going to do that for a couple of reasons, whether that be if they're going to, let's say, if they do take it to a vote by the shareholders, they're going to make sure that the percentage of people that are saying no, or even if they have to increase it artificially through these institutions to be greater than Elon's stake, to make sure that it's a no, they'll do so. And of course, if this does go and Elon says, okay, well, I think he said he has another plan, but let's just say he does dump all of his shares, they're going to try and offset some of that price action, which I don't believe they can completely. But if they buy up a lot of the shares, even again, artificially through some of these funds and stuff like that, whether it's, I'm not sure if it's Vanguard or BlackRock, I have to double check. I want to say, I know it's one of those two, but they'll kind of like offset some of that negative price action by artificially pumping it even more, just simply just lowering the float of the available shares. Very, very likely that they're going to try and kill this, but I do believe for just proper representation, this should go to the shareholders to vote. The question is, are they now going to artificially pump who owns the shares here to make sure that that answer is a no? That's the real question here. So that's something we're going to have to look for this upcoming week. So don't forget to smash the like button. Thank you, John. I appreciate you. Vanguard. Okay, thank you. Okay, I knew it was one of them. Thank you for confirming. So, and we're gonna see, because I like some of Vanguard's funds actually. So we're gonna see what role they're gonna play in. Maybe, and again, I'm not trying to name names or just put information out there. Maybe they don't have any type of ill will toward whether or not Elon takes over Twitter. Maybe they're like, okay, regardless, we believe there's going to be some positive price action here, and we're going to try and make some money. Maybe that's the case. So I just want to put both sides out there. But I will say that if I were on the board and I was against Elon coming up there, I would call in some favors to make sure that that didn't happen, or that they would be just the representation would be more in my favor. But again, just for clarity purposes, it is entirely possible that they're looking at it just from a financial perspective and not trying to, help out or do any small favors for some of the board members. So just wanted to put that out there. So I got some shares. I got some June 20 puts on. I'm assuming you're talking about Twitter. Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see. I think that we'll have some concrete, at least a better idea of the direction of which this is going to go this upcoming week. So it's going to be very, very interesting. So I think that we're going to have some concrete information on which direction it's going to go. Will that affect the price of Doge? I don't necessarily think it. Maybe a little bit, but I think that the greatest reason for Doge's upward price momentum right now has been the fact that shorts have backed off. I'm not sure what point you jumped into the video, but I just pulled up the shorts chart, and we've seen that the shorts have pretty much been in a downward trajectory, and that's, in my opinion, I believe that's why we're getting a more natural price reaction for Dogecoin. And if they continue at this pace, Doge will pretty much consolidate at its true equilibrium, which, as many people have suspected, is higher than where it's currently been sitting. So I do believe it can possibly have like a small effect, but I don't think it'll be like a dramatic effect on the price of Dogecoin. I think that Elon really believes in Doge, and that he believes that it can truly be the internet currency. So regardless of whatever happens with Twitter, I believe that whatever he's doing, in the future, or whatever endeavors he gets in, I believe that he's going to open a door for Dogecoin in that venture. So I don't say that it'll, just pretty much continue the trajectory that Dogecoin was on before or something like that. So I think that it'll just have a very minimal effect on the price. So thank you very much for all your information. You're the best. Big fan. Thanks for your hard work. Thank you. I appreciate you. Can you explain what are shorts? Oh, yes. This is one of my favorite things I like to discuss. So shorts typically they exist in crypto and in the stock market. And contrary to popular belief, a lot, or I'd say probably even most of the money that's made in the market are made by people who potentially never even really own the asset. They just simply take a bet against it. But the problem is when you're a short, you never own the asset initially. But when you're a short, typically that makes you a guaranteed buyer at some point. And we've seen this in a few of the other stocks, at least, that there are many loopholes to get around when you have to buy them, even if you're squeezed in this short position. But technically, when you're short, you're making a bet, a negative bet against an asset, right? And typically, you can do this through the issue that I have with shorts is you can do this through borrowed shares, which means that you can technically never purchase the asset initially. And the broker, you can lend people's shares or coins that already have a position in it. And you take those shares and coins and use it as leverage against them in a negative position. So pretty much creating downward, pretty much using someone who is long in the coins, at the coin or stocks asset against them, but you're borrowing their share. So it's the same share that you're holding for a positive reaction. They're now borrowing against it to get a negative reaction. And I don't want to get into the whole synthetic shares and stuff like that, but there's a lot of information um, out there that they're lending the same shares and stuff like that multiple times. I'm not going to bring that into the crypto market, even though maybe it's entirely possible. But um, when you are short on a position here, you can technically borrow the shares to create the downward momentum and not have to compete in the market at its current price. So that's the biggest benefit. So let's say you have a float of let's just say you have a float of 10 coins, right? Technically speaking, if let's say 8 of the coins are held by long-term investors, if you, technically speaking, if you wanted to take a position in the coin, you'd have to come in and buy those remaining two, or you pretty much have to buy the coins on the open market. When you're shorting, you can borrow the shares of people that are already holding. So it's almost like you're like a ghost moving through the market, and you're borrowing the shares without, or you're taking positions in these companies or in these assets without creating any positive upward movement because you're using borrowed shares. So, and it's really, really complex thing because the brokers make money when they lend out your shares, and they'll give you like a little small percentage. And 99% of the time, you don't even know that your shares are being lended out. You have to, like when you enroll or open an account, it automatically happens, and you have to go in there and figure out how to turn off share lending. It's literally just a bunch of smoke and mirrors. So I know it's a really long-winded answer, but I hope that provided some clarity, because I can honestly do probably like a 2-part video on shorts, because it's really like a complex thing, because you have to get into like warehousing stocks and stuff like that. It's super complex, but I hope I provided some clarity for you. Let's see. Should I invest in a low market cap cryptos? Do you know any of the low market cap gems? Um, I typically get away from. I typically only speak on like stuff that I'm invested in. Low market cap, there's always an advantage when it comes down to pretty much share count, coin count. When you are getting things for cheap, I think that's one of the reasons why there are a lot of traders and people who take short positions in Dogecoin is simply because of the price, right? This is typically why you see a lot of companies, when they fall off of the exchange and have to go OTC, they start doing those reverse stock splits and stuff like that to increase the price of their current stock, so that they're not subject to these wild swings. Because once, like stocks, even in general, not comparing it to Dogecoin, but once you start getting down into what you would call like the penny stock range, you're going to have a lot of traders and pump and dumps and stuff like that. Start seeing a lot of extreme volatility. So I typically, for risk purposes, I try and stay away from that. As far as like recommending like those coins. So as of right now, I'll say no, because I don't want to get anybody in trouble by throwing those out there. Let's see. Thoughts on Doe's drone show was pretty incredible. Just came into the live. Thank you, John. No. I was really I liked it a lot. And I think that whenever we see um, institutions and these companies and stuff like that, and we start seeing the continuation and really just the support that Doge has in the community, that just kind of just reassures me that I'm on the right side of things long term. Like this makes me excited to be, in the Dogecoin community. I think we have the best community in the crypto market. So that when I see those, it's kind of just like a reassurance for me. Where do you go to short? Is there a platform or something? It's not necessarily a specific platform, but you can do so through like brokers. And but even typically when I say short, it's not like most of the shorting is not done by like retail. It's done by institutions, hedge funds, and stuff like that. And they'll typically, and again, it's really complex shorts, but typically they can warehouse the stocks or be one of the market makers in the coins and stuff like that, and pretty much relay the information to a partner company, or they simply use the buy orders that they can see coming in real time to take a position against it. And it's even on the opposite side of that, you can kind of front run it, because when you say I want to take a short position against something, you can see the buy orders coming in and the sell orders coming in. Put your order in first and then execute those. And this happens like in like seconds, but it does happen. But it's usually done through, I'll just say like the brokers, like hedge funds and stuff like that. You can take um, most of the shorts happen through there. Most of what you see on the retail side, if they do want to take a negative position, which in my opinion is a safer way to take a negative position, is puts, because you're only limited to, it pretty much doesn't make you a guaranteed buyer. You're only limited to the money that you've invested in there. So it doesn't open you up to make you a guaranteed buyer in the event that the stock squeezes and goes to heaven or something like that. You're only losing the money that you put up. And that's usually the route that retailers take. Let's see, these low cap gems may not survive what may be coming. Caution, just saying. Absolutely. Absolutely. I did a video a while back called the crypto consolidation. If you haven't seen it, I just recommend it. It's pretty much where I was saying that in the event we have a market breakdown, some of the macros in the events, I'm sure you guys are aware of. I've covered some of them: inverted yield curve, NASDAQ correcting 20%, record inflation, things that can cause a further sell-off in the market. A lot of these coins that don't have utility and use cases and that are simply just cash grabs, they're going to disappear. I can assure you, if we go into a recession or have a major sell-off in the market, the crypto market is going to look completely different from what it does right now. So kind of just keep that in mind when you're shopping for some of the low caps and stuff like that. I know it's attractive because you can say, okay, this is going to be the next Dogecoin and stuff like that, but just be really careful. So yeah, great point, Mark, for sure. So I spent my Doge at AMC watching Sonic 2 with my son. There we go. Good deal. So thank you for your help. Much respect. Thank you, Angel. I appreciate you. Let's see. Was it Caius? I hope I'm saying it correctly. Hi, what's your opinion on the average price of AMC after short squeeze? Wow. That is very difficult because when I look at the price, when I try and speculate on what the price of that will be, I look at a lot of price action that we've seen from stocks that have had great appreciation over like the last year. And what we've seen is last 2 years, really, what we've seen is a very progressive reaction to halting and making sure that these stocks don't experience what we would call, I guess, what we call like the full momentum of a short squeeze. We're seeing like severe halts, right? I was fortunate enough to participate in some of them this past year, like SNDL, DWAC, the first run up with AMC. I caught a piece of GameStop, and it's just that the manipulation has just pretty much just increased dramatically. and especially with DWAC, because DWAC, I remember looking at a couple of them. I don't know if it was DWAC or Fun, but one of them was like $18 before it halted. Right, it halted. It was approaching like $20, and after the halt, it was down to like 8, and it was just. And I think that's something that we look at AMC and say this is going to be MOAS. There's synthetic shorts. This is going to change the market forever, right? And if they did that with these, I won't say low cap, but if it's not as dramatic as what we're expecting from AMC, I can only imagine the type of manipulation, ladder attacks, and stuff like that they're going to do to sell prematurely or get people to sell or panic and get out of the position. So when it comes down to those positions, authentically, if we're looking at mathematically what's going on with the price action of AMC, and supposedly they're doing all these sellouts and stuff is happening with less than 10% of the available float, since we own 90%, confirmed by Adam Aaron. So that almost guarantees that there's at least some form of synthetics in the market. So theoretically, yeah, we should easily be able to get into. I'm not going to throw any of those crazy big numbers out there, but I'll say theoretically we should easily be able to get into 4 figures easily. So the question is, it's not really this how high the stock can go. It's more so is how high will they let it how high will it go while they allow trading to continue? And I think that's going to be our biggest adversary when it comes down to the natural price action of the stock. But I do believe that we can get into 4 figures if we play our cards right and we're being smart, because we saw what happened with GameStop when everyone panicked when they started pretty much remove the buy button and stuff like that. They got it going back the other way, which is what they wanted. Now we all know better than that now, so we can kind of see the price action, see the difference in the price action with AMC and see how it plays out. But just kind of be careful, because everybody has diamond hands before they can see the money in their account. And as I always say, diamond hands at some point turns into don't sell before I do. So just kind of be careful with that, holding for some of those big numbers. So I hope that answers your question. Let's see. Doge to 30 cent first, David. Let's see. We will get back there. Absolutely. Thank you for all your hard work, Dogecoin to the moon. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. My son and I have been holding Doge for over a year. Absolutely. Good deal. Good deal. Possible adoption of a digital currency could result in many existing ones not surviving, but I might be premature on that. No, I agree. I agree completely. And it's one of the things I talked about in the video, that we've never seen pretty much a government not have a presence in a form of trade, or pretty much a large form of trade, like whether that's dollars or gold and silver, oil. Obviously, America, I'm not sure where you are, probably in America as well, but we see as far as petrodollars being used for exchange. The dollar is the national reserve currency of the world. So it's in my opinion that I believe the Fed dollar is coming. So the question is, and again, it cannot possibly be a bad thing, because people typically hedge themselves with gold and silver, and we know it's the oldest form of money. And yeah, you can buy bullion and coins that are, not minted by the government, but the government does have a presence there. We have the silver eagles and gold eagles, by the U.S. Mint. The government does have a presence there in buying those blanks and I don't want to say distributing. Well, they do have a large distribution, but distributing those coins and stuff like that, and also purchasing as far as for blanks and making sure that there is at least readily a supply. And then we also see that, we have the unaccounted for Fort Knox, but when you account for on paper how many ounces and stuff like you have, you can kind of, control the price. And the question is, will we have something similar with the Fed dollar? Will the Fed dollar be pegged to the dollar? Will it be, pegged to something else? Will there be an incentive to use the Fed dollar? It's a lot of questions out there, but yeah, you're absolutely right. It will have a dramatic effect on a lot of these coins who don't have utility and community around it. I agree with that completely. When do you see Doge going to 20 cent? I see. Well, as of right now, we pretty much have the floor because of the shorts that are not being aggressive in Dogecoin. So I'd say if we're able to break above like around that 17.3, 17.8, which is probably as of right now, because our 200-day, which is that red line on the chart, is coming down. That's probably right on par with our 200-day moving average. So if we break above like that 17.3, 17.8, or just test our 200-day moving average, that's going to be our indicator to us breaking above 20 cent. Now, typically, we saw that they changed the strategy on the last run, but typically speaking, the shorts typically don't come in until around 20 cents or so. And they're able to pump the brakes at around 22, 23 cents. We saw that they took I guess because the momentum was really great. And they took a spike at around the 17.3 range on the last run. That's those two big candles, the big green candle and the immediate red candle, where that rejection, like right off of that 200-day moving average, happened. So the question is, on our next retest, are they going to jump in early again at around the 200-day moving average, or are they going to wait until 20? Because the thing is about momentum, which I'm sure people who are against Doge and stuff like that are aware of, is when you allow momentum to build, it's a lot harder to pump the brakes on it. So I think that's why they kind of jumped in a little early compared to the previous two tests, because the last time that happened was the Elon Tesla announcement, when the shorts came in really strong to try and kill the momentum. So we're looking right now for the 20 retest, 20 cent retest. We're looking for price action between around like 17.3, 17.8. And then, of course, we have to monitor shorts to see if they're coming in at that same time as well. But as of right now, I'd say just look at the 200-day moving average. That's going to be one of our strongest indicators, since we are kind of consolidating at around the 14.3 range. That means this 200-day moving average, that downward slope is going to smooth out, and the 21-day and our 72 are going to cross here. So we're going to be pretty much looking between our 21-day and our 200-day moving average in the short term. Let's see. My average is 39 cents. Do you expect it will go to 40 cents again? Yeah. No, long term. No, this depends on the time frame that you're in. But I do expect, yes, I do expect Doge to see 40 cents again. Absolutely. Let's see. If everyone has a limit order to sell Doge at a high price, can your coins be lent out to shorters? Well, technically speaking, that is the who does the. So you can have the positions where they lend out the coins and they don't have the ability to cover them, or they run into liquidity issues. That's something similar to what we saw with Robinhood and GameStop. Remember, because it's really the brokerages that are lending out, because they're going to make a fortune off of lending these coins out. Or maybe the brokerages at the same time, if the brokerage is a market maker, which is also a hedge fund, which also owns the clearinghouse. That this happens with a couple of hedge funds. I'm not going to say the names of it, but I'm sure some of you guys know who I'm talking about. Then yeah, this can cause they can still lend the coins out, because they are pretty much holding the coins for you, quote unquote. But the biggest thing, I think, that with Robinhood being one of the largest wallet holders, and the fact that we can now move our coins around, this kind of adds I won't say like a fear factor, but it adds more accountability, because we can move our coins out at any time. So what we've seen was, especially with the GameStop situation, was there was a lot of price movement and asset movements when the money wasn't there. And it's kind of like at the bank, right? If we all go to a particular bank and say we want all of our money out right now in cash, can't do it, right? It only works as long as everybody is not, offering to execute. And it's kind of like what you said, if we all have a limit order to sell Doge at a high price. Yeah, so the manipulation can still be there, but I think that now with wallets and being able to transfer funds in and out of, transfer coins in and out of brokerages, that they're being more careful to not lend out those crazy amount of shares or coins, so that they don't get themselves in that type of situation. Because what happens is, if you lend out the shares, or you don't have the shares, the coins, you don't have the coins, or you can't produce the coins, or you try and sell your coins or transfer them out and you can't, that's when you start running into issues. And especially for companies and stuff like Robinhood, I don't think they want those kind of problems again. So, and we've seen Vlad with his long form tweets the other day about Doge. So we know how important Doge is to Robinhood's bottom line, or at least how important Doge has been to Robinhood's bottom line. So I don't think that their brokerages like that are going to put themselves in that kind of situation again. Why did Doge not see much reaction to AMC adding it? AMC, so this is when it comes down to like some of the catalysts and stuff like that. That's, I'm not sure if you're talking about like a pump or long-term price action. Long-term price action, this is what we need. So even if like if McDonald's said we're going to accept Dogecoin, short term that price action is going to be high, people buying into it just because that they pretty much are hoping to probably swing it, or they see long term they change their mind and they think that okay, well, Dogecoin is going to appreciate long term. But the actual usage of AMC or something like McDonald's and it being used in utility, that's something that's going to have to be tested over a period of time. That's those coins, or AMC holding a Dogecoin wallet, or McDonald's having a Dogecoin wallet where they're exchanging in and out of the currency. That's something that's going to have to be built up over time. That price action is going to be built up over time. The short term was definitely be like hype or something like that. So when it comes down to the price action, or generally in like the market, I do believe that some of the catalysts that we have are not going to have the same reaction that we've seen like over the last year or so when the market was in a bullish territory. It was something that I covered as far as like the macro events. The market typically doesn't go on bull runs when there's massive uncertainty in the market, which is what we have. We have inverted yield curve, we have inflation higher than we've seen in the last 40 years. We have 20% corrections in the market. We have Bitcoin fluttering around doing like this tennis ball reaction between like 39, 45,000. So there's massive uncertainty in the market, and what we see here is investors, even with the inverted yield curve, they're thinking that the short term is more bullish than the long term, which means that they are, this is why it's typically used as an indicator to a recession. So typically that gives us on average around 6 to 18 months. So when we factor in these things here, you're not going to, that downward pressure, not downward pressure, but the liquidity in the market is going to be very scarce when it comes in. So we're going to see, okay, will retailers run in and pump the market up? Well, we have to deal with shorts. We know that the institutions are not going to run in and pump the market up just yet, just because of the uncertainty. So we're not going to see the massive price swings that from catalysts. We'll see some movements coming in, which is, I think we did great running up to around like 17 or touching our 200-day moving average. But those massive run-ups from catalysts, they're not going to happen right now because of the macros in the market. But what we're looking for with things like AMC or like a McDonald's and stuff like that, long term is going to be, that's where the price action is going to come in, because these companies are going to have their wallets and those coins are going to be removed from circulation. And pretty much AMC, McDonald's and stuff like that are going to become, wallet holders. And, based off of the size of the companies and stuff like that, they can become really, really large wallet holders. And of course, you have like supply and demand, and why they wouldn't sell back into the market to depreciate their current coins that they're holding versus the ones that they're currently getting. So they would drip them back into the market if they wanted to convert all of them back to dollars. So this kind of like artificially just removes a lot of the coin from the market, lowering the flow, increasing the remaining value of the remaining coins on the market. And we kind of get that upward tick. So that takes time pretty much. But overall, the biggest thing is going to be the macros in the market. That's why we're not seeing those massive swings up from like our catalysts and stuff like that. So we may get one from Doge 1 but you have to keep in mind there's going to be a lot of traders and people who are short term that around that time that can try and capitalize off a lot of the hype. But just kind of keep that in mind. But until the macros change, that's when you're going to start seeing the really, really bullish movements in the market. So long-winded answer. I hope that answers your question. Let's see. With all the money and influence Elon has, why doesn't he make his own coin? I thought about that before. He certainly can, but he probably just doesn't want a coins like circling like around him. So you probably want to take something that is more on the free market and not depending on his social status and stuff like that. That's just my opinion. I honestly can't answer that, but that's just my opinion from some of the stances he's taken publicly. Let's see. 49, rising above, rolling, rolling. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. To the moon. Absolutely. Thank you. And definitely everybody like the video, share the video with your friends, subscribe to the channel if you have not. Um, yeah, but for the most part, I just believe that Elon wouldn't do that just because it would be literally around him, his social status, and if he, what he, it would just kind of be like this. I think it would do more harm than good actually, because if he came out against something like, say, he said Twitter and said it wasn't like free speech or something like that, then the people that are holding technically Elon coin, if it's an unpopular opinion, we can start seeing a lot of like downward pressure and stuff like that. And then he's like, okay, well, I think it'd be more of a hindrance because he's like, I don't want to, you know, screw all these people or cause pain and suffering because I want to speak out against something. So that's all speculation. That's my opinion. That can totally not be it. In all honesty, I cannot answer that question, but that's just, my thoughts on it. To the moon. Okay, so we're at roughly around 41 minutes. I'm gonna conclude there. Again, like the video, share the video with a friend, and subscribe to the channel if you want to hear more from me. I'm gonna start back putting out videos. Pretty much like I'll say every day now, but most of the point I'll cover some of the TA here now that I've finished out some of my other projects. So want to hear more from me? Definitely comment in the comment section. I'll be on for the next hour or so and I'll respond to you guys. And with that, I will see you all tomorrow. All right. Have a good night, everyone.